Well, good morning once again, everybody. And coming up here on Imus in the morning, the political analyst and radio talk show host, Carl Jeffers, will join Imus. That's at about 30 minutes, 8:30 Eastern Time.
Carl Jeffers is coming up. This is one of Carl Jeffers' favorite songs.
I've got you under my skin. I have got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin.
Your morning dose of sunshine. Imus in the morning.
All right, 37 minutes. Past the hour here at the Imus Morning Program. On the radio around the country and on the Fox Business Network. Joining us from Los Angeles, I-Fave Carl Jeffers. Good morning, Mr. Jeffers.
Good morning, Don. And I'll tell you, if you're going to play Frank Sinatra, I'll get up at 3:30 in the morning to come visit with you, because that's a great way to start the day. And hello to Bernie and Charles and everybody else in the sort of the post-Super Bowl fervor. I hope everybody's doing well.
We played Sinatra under duress because it's one of your favorite songs, and we like you, so. Although I
think a lot of people. I think a lot of people could stand that kind of duress, having to listen to Frank Sinatra with Nelson Riddle's great arrangement of I've Got You Under My Skin, that's for sure. But he had, in that period in the late 60s, he had some great arrangements, The Summer Wind, things like that, All or Nothing at All, which was actually a remake of a 1940s recording he did with the Harry James Band, and all of those things. It's really terrific. And but in any event, I would love to spend a half hour with you talking about Sinatra music, but I don't think that's what we're doing today. So we want to cover some other topics, I'm sure.
No, I only wanted to talk about Sinatra. I'm talking about Sinatra. Rocco Maselli. Rocco was a friend of Sinatra's and Jilly and all those guys.
Yes.
So, let's start with, have you been following this David Patterson saga, the governor of New York?
I'm glad you brought that up, Don, because the reality is that Governor Patterson, I think, made an excellent case, both when he has been on your show, and he also did Larry King last night. And he made the point, and let's look at specifics, that in terms of that specific charge about the troopers seeing him in a closet in the executive mansion, that number one, there is no such closet at all in that room. And that's the kind of assertion that can be either verified or refuted. So it's a statement of fact. We can stipulate that. Secondly, that there are no state troopers allowed or walking or patrolling the hallways to begin with. And then the incident in the diner in New Jersey, he was able to refute that as well by the stated testimony of the actual participants, the patrons who were there. So I think that he has handled this with a certain amount of class. I think Mike Lupica, who was on your show earlier today, was completely wrong in assessing that. We know that Governor Patterson thinks that Andrew Cuomo is behind this. We don't know that at all. And Governor Patterson has never asserted that he thinks that it's Andrew Cuomo. He has asserted that he thinks there is an effort in the press, in the journalistic media, to essentially smear him, and that there need to be better standards. He's got enough problems to deal with. We know what his poll numbers are. But he's a man who's committed to the people of the state of New York, and we don't need this kind of scurrilous kind of print media and otherwise derogatory information disseminated without any proof or justification. And kudos to you and to Bernie, even all of you, because I know you don't agree with Patterson's politics, but you have in fact stated that you have questions about the veracity of the reporting that the young lady did, who, as you say, was honored from Columbia because of her incredible work on her blog.
Well,
and so I think that's an important factor.
I asked him flat out if he'd had any romantic or sexual relationship with anybody other than his wife since that press conference he had when he became governor, once Governor Spitzer got caught getting his socks sucked off by the call girl. But why you be hating on Lupica? Because Patterson knows absolutely that it's Cuomo, and I know it was Cuomo. He just hasn't said it's Cuomo. Now, I differ with Lupica about whether he should say or not.
You're saying absolutely that Andrew Cuomo is behind this?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the kind of statement, Don, that in the absence of true facts is exactly what's wrong with partisan politics in America today.
People
make statements like that.
He's Nelson Riddle.
Excuse me?
He's Nelson Riddle.
Dead.
He's orchestrating this whole thing. He's Leonard Bernstein.
Well,
He's got the baton going, baby.
Don, if he truly was Nelson Riddle, he'd do a much better job of the orchestration because Nelson was the best there was out there. So we can eliminate that comparison.
Oh, that little skunk Cuomo's behind all of this. We know that.
Well, but that's my point.
You got to wake up,
exactly
Carl. Come on,
point.
baby.
He may be behind some of it, but in the absence of absolute proof, we can't assert emphatically that he is, and that's what's wrong with politics today.
You can't.
I, in fact, salute the governor. I salute the governor for the way that he has shown the kind of restraint and careful wording that we really need in this kind of situation.
You can't assert that because you're a responsible journalist. I, however, am not.
Well, that statement speaks for itself, but what I'm saying is that the rest of the world could be improved if we could have more of that responsible journalism that you refer to in how we handle particularly these kinds of scandals, Don. That's one of the problems. Whether it's Tiger Woods or Michael Jackson or whatever the situation is, we do need to have more realistic approaches that are fair and that there are standards. And that's what the governor was arguing about last night. And I do think that deserves some credence here. And speaking of justifiable positions, because we certainly don't want to spend the whole segment on that issue when Governor Patterson rightly says that they've got economic problems in the state that he wants to address. And if he can do a job there and be judged by the standards of how he deals with the issues that affect the voters of New York, then that is a fair environment to either vote him back in or vote him out, but not this other stuff. But I've heard you also talk about Bill Clinton. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons that since the very early stages of the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton's personal poll numbers have consistently been the highest of anybody in the administrations, including the president's, is in fact because in tandem with Bill Clinton, they've done such an effective job in the Secretary of State's office. And you know something, in terms of the health situation, Don, let's remember this, and this is a fascinating point. Bill Clinton's probably got a lot of years left with us, as does George W. Bush, because we now have baby boomers who are elected president, and they have a lot of years left. But remember this. Think of this for a second. When Bill Clinton left the White House after serving 2 terms as president of the United States, he was still younger than Ronald Reagan was when Ronald Reagan started his first term as governor of the state of California out here. So Reagan served 2 terms as governor, then went on to serve 2 terms as president, and Bill Clinton was still younger than Reagan was when he started that, when he left the White House. So that gives you some idea there. It's really quite incredible.
Are you still talking?
Oh, come on, Don. You know I am.
Talking with Carl Jeffers here on the Imus in the Morning program. It's 13 minutes till the hour. Finally, the president told Katie Couric that maybe the terror trials are still on in New York. But he probably misspoke himself, don't you think?
Well, listen, in the last few days with respect to foreign policy, the president hasn't made missteps, but I think that he could have phrased his responses a little better. That particularly leaves himself open to the barrage of criticism that's now coming from virtually every quarter except his base in terms of those trials being held in New York. Even people like Mayor Bloomberg, who originally supported the idea, have now turned on that idea and feel that, in fact, it would be a mistake. So I think that he's got to move in a different direction in terms of doing some things like that. But you know what, Don? I think that there's no question. November creates a problem for this president.
You know what I feel like now, Carl? Right? You know what I feel like? I feel like I'm at the wheel of a Toyota that's going 120 miles an hour, and I can't get the son of it to stop.
Well, you know what, Don, though? Let me tell you something about Toyota.
I'm begging, I gotta
the fact is that anybody in America would make a decision, make a decision not to buy a Toyota.
We're out of time.
Should be called into the DMV.
It's over.
Put it in neutral.
Thank you, Carl. I love you to death. Carl Jeffers, live in L.A.